What does Costco, the Navy SEALs, and a Formula One race team have in common? Stay tuned. Leadership DM, Jay Scott's direct message to his team and clients. Welcome to Leadership DM. This is Andrew. Today, Jay's going to be breaking down the formula, the system that high-performing teams install to deliver 227% better results than the average. Who wants to be average? I don't. So let's jump into it. Take it away, Jay.
We are aware that there are elite teams out there that are successful over and over and over again, even though they're constantly turning over people. So the trick here, Amazon, it's a system-based organization. Toyota, Costco, we probably shouldn't have put Tesla on there. They're not popular with everybody these days, but systems-based organization, they're getting outcomes, right? And so one thing, and this is a principle, if you want to build an elite and durable team, you have to recognize that you have to build a team that's not going to fall apart when you lose a person. You need to be able to bring people up to speed quickly. You need to be able to train them quickly. They need to be able to be productive quickly. With that said, a leader has to commit to something, and that commitment is simple. It's to the success of the team and not any single individual. And that's not personal. It's because the individuals are going to come and they're going to go. Okay. And then the team, because the commitment has to be reciprocal in order for it to be effective, in order for it to work. And so team members need to commit to earn their place on the team through the work every day, period. That's how the NBA works. That's how the NFL works. That's how Formula works. That's one in French. Elite surgical trauma teams. That's how the Navy SEALs work. Now, what's that formula? I'm giving it to you. First, they start with a proven measurable system. The Navy SEALs have a proven measurable system. Formula One has a proven measurable system, right? Air crews have a proven measurable system. Trauma centers have a proven measurable system. Nobody comes into those organizations like, I don't like the way you're doing it, so I'm just going to do it my way, right? And now I want to pause here. This is important. Raise your hand if you're a Chick-fil-A fan. Chick-fil-A fans? Oh my God. So everybody at Chick-fil-A, everybody that works there, when you say thank you, they say to you, it's my pleasure. Now, I don't need that. But I love it because of what I do. Because that's their system. That's their system. But think about what that creates. It's a whole system based on my pleasure. Nobody's going to take that job that doesn't want to say my pleasure. The people that take that job are delighted every time they say my pleasure. And those same people that are delighted every time they say my pleasure want to make sure that they're not coming by to ask if you want to refill on your drink because they're scared they're going to lose their job. They're coming by to ask you if you want to refill on your drink because if you say yes, it literally is their pleasure to serve you. Okay, who's a Costco fan? Costco fans?
Yeah.
When you walk in the door at Costco, right? They say, welcome to Costco, I love you. No, they don't say that, but it feels like they say that, right? It kind of feels like that's what they're saying. Welcome to Costco, I love you. Nobody is going to work at Costco that doesn't want to be part of a culture like that. Simple systems. And by the way, is anybody going to make it at Chick-fil-A if they literally, even quietly, just don't say my pleasure when people say thank you to them? No, everybody would notice. Literally everybody would notice. And it's a very simple thing. It's a non-negotiable for Chick-fil-A. So the second thing is that leadership is installed as a team. Okay. The entire team is trained together, not as individuals. Just think about this. You guys have seen all the movies, Navy SEALs going through BUDS, right? Flight training, like crews train together, formula, right? And they don't train in the classroom, right? Coaching happens in live work. I just jumped to number 5. Okay. There's maybe some classroom. There has to be some classroom, but the vast majority of the system installation happens in live work. Okay. So the entire team is trained together, not as individuals. Leaders model the standard visibly and consistently. They're not like outside the work, like you guys do it that way, but I'm going to keep operating the way that I'm going to operate. Nobody gets to be the trainer of a Navy SEAL that isn't already a Navy SEAL. Nobody's training a flight crew. Nobody's training a trauma crew. Nobody's training anybody in the Formula One that hasn't already mastered that job and earned their place on the team in the work every day. Leaders model the standard. Now, Some of you are old enough to have lived through the investment in project management, the disaster of project management, the investment of Agile, the disaster, the investment of Six Sigma, the disaster, the KPIs, the OKRs. 70% of the time, these things fail. Only 30% of the time are they effective. Now, what's interesting is, right, leaders model the standard visibly and consistently. Well, the organizations that were projectized, meaning everybody who was working that way, like succeeded, where the executives were like, you guys go to training. Okay. They did. They sent them to training. They paid for the training. And then those people came back really excited and they're like, hey, we have to change the way they're working. The executives are like, fine, I don't care how you work, but I'm going to keep working this way. And by the way, this is the information that I need. This is how I want my reports. And by the way, this is how I'm going to measure you. They were not interested in learning how those MBAs or those certified project managers or those Six Sigma black belts learned that would be more effective to measure things. They wanted to keep measuring things the way that they wanted to keep measuring things. They lived outside the system. They just assumed that the people in their organization would translate their way of working to this efficient way of working, but that's not how leadership works. We model the behavior of the leader. It's easier. It's less frustrating. We're not going to make a mistake. We're not going to put the wrong thing in front of them, right? That and human beings don't like busy work. I got to do it this way, then I got to translate it to that way. That's duplicate work. Who's heard that before? Human beings can't stand duplicate anything that they perceive as duplicate work. It's not really that. That's their problem. Human beings just don't like their time to feel like it's being wasted because we want to feel successful. The operating rhythm, when we're installing leadership as a team, the operating rhythm is installed where the work happens. Coaching happens in live work. Mastery is built through repetition and consequence. The system carries real economic consequences. Formula, trauma centers, Navy SEALs, right? Like there's real stuff on the line. Then capability becomes factually visible over time, right? They're either doing the job or they're not doing the job, but we're not honoring excuses because people that came before them did the job. At the end of the day, we need the job done. We know the job can and will get done. And it's sad sometimes if somebody can't or won't rise to the occasion, but the system is here. The investment is here. We're doing this together. And if somebody can't do it as a team with all of that support, they're not a fit for the team. Nobody's keeping anybody on the Lakers that can't contribute. The way of working survives people changing seats. This is the formula that elite organizations use to install leadership.
Thanks for joining us for Leadership DM. If you'd like to dive deeper into what makes a high-performing team, learn more at 120vc.com. Of course, follow Jay Scott on the Instagram and subscribe to YouTube. And until next time, Zoom high five.